Have you ever dealt with people perhaps that are having issues of conscience, in their time working with the in the army? Do you ever get people that think, oh, maybe they get an order and have an issue where, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure. Have you ever get people that maybe back out or think, oh, I don't know if I can do this? Is that
Yeah,
something that comes up?
I'm trying to think of if I can think of a specific question. I know when I was at the military academy, uh, there was a young, very idealistic young
Mm-hmm.
trainee officer cadet who decided he was going to become a conscientious objector. I think he suddenly realized he was in the military, didn't want to be.
Yeah.
Um, the army works as well as it does because we have what are called the core values: courage, loyalty, discipline, integrity, selfless commitment, and
Mm-hmm.
respect for others. So those six core values, which young soldiers are taught from day one, and um, which senior officers hold to even at the
Mm-hmm.
highest, at the top of the army.
Couldn't work without it. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's the glue that keeps the whole thing together. And I think it's the core values. So respect for others,
Mm-hmm.
or integrity, loyalty, and discipline are things which um, people recognize. And if somebody was to say, you know, I'm gay and I can no longer be in this environment, or they want to say, I really do not believe, if you're a Muslim soldier and you do
Mm-hmm.
not want to serve in a Muslim country, then that could be seen as conscientious objection, but would be dealt with really sensitively and
Mm-hmm.
seriously.
I was going to say then, is there concessions that are perhaps made in terms of, it could officially be seen a certain way, but, maybe, do they find ways around, where they can make concessions, or
Well,
how's that dealt with?
yeah, I don't think we make concessions. I think we treat people with great respect and
Mm-hmm.
dignity. Apart from the Christian chaplains that we had, I had five faith advisors from the Buddhist, the Hindu, the Jew, the Sikh, and the
Mm-hmm.
Muslim community, who would provide me with real time advice.
Mm-hmm.
So, if, for example, you are, I've seen, Josh, some young Muslim soldiers praying 5 times a day, being more devout than any evangelical Christian I know.
Yep.
And I've also seen soldiers, non-Christian soldiers, being on duty to allow Christian soldiers to celebrate Christmas, for example,
Mm-hmm.
because they know that the flip side is that when it's their religious festival,
Yeah.
one of the Christian soldiers would do the same. It's that
Mm-hmm.
give and take. It's not concessions.
It's a
It's
brotherhood, really, is what you're describing.
brotherhood is, yeah, and you know now that there are girls in the infantry, over the summer, the Trooping of the Colour, which took place at Windsor rather than London, the
Mm-hmm.
big parade that happens for the Queen's birthday.
Yes. Yeah.
On the parade was the first female guardsman
Mm.
in the Welsh Guards. So there are girls now serving in the front
Yeah.
line with new regiments. Now that's a tough call, really, because it's a very physically demanding role. It's a very macho environment,
Yeah.
but the girls are tough, and the
Mm-hmm.
girls are given their place because they are the right people to do these jobs.
Mm. Well, I don't know if you ever watched do you ever watch the SAS show that's on TV?
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's interesting the way they described it, because it's exactly how you would hope it would be dealt with, where every girl that's in the army is expected to keep up with every man, and there's no weak links. Whether it's, people make the argument that women are biologically, it's natural less strong, and in some ways, but if they have to be able to keep up with the demands of the job, and that's the way you would have hoped that it would have been dealt with, and
yeah.
uh,
I think certainly in the the part of the risk is the whole psychological thing about being in the front line,
mm-hmm,
and the bearing of arms, and that if a girl, because it's not being sexist, but if a girl gets injured, are the men going to react differently than if one of their colleagues got injured? The
mm,
answer is probably not, because they're all trained exactly the same.
yeah,
And I think that there is a real sense that they're not gender neutral. Women are still going to be women, men are still going to be men.
mm-hmm,
I think certainly when I was in the army headquarters, tens of thousands, if not millions of pounds were spent on scientific testing to ensure that no female was going to do untold damage by trying to be an infantry soldier.
Mm. Yeah,
because that's just so important. This is somebody's life you're talking about.
absolutely. And yeah, there's obviously that trust, but it must have been interesting, for, I guess, when the first few women did join in, I'm sure it was an interesting dynamic to, suddenly there's, where it was all men for forever, really, to see the first few women.
And you'll have maybe seen the university, but here, where I live now, there's a boys' boarding school has just decided to take girls.
Mm-hmm. That's the way.
Now,
that's the way things are going these days. Yeah,
well, it's
absolutely.
not even a boarding school; it's a day school.
Okay.
But the problem is they didn't have any gents and ladies' loos.
Oh yeah, of course.
They didn't have gents and ladies' changing rooms. They didn't have female sports teachers.
No, there's all these logistics to think about now.
Exactly. So and you're not going to have mixed accommodation in a barrack block. So you have to accommodate people for who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To the best you can. And I've never been to an army barracks that's had gender neutral toilets. But I guess that's what you find in universities and other places.
I mean, again, on the SAS show that they don't do that. They don't. They make a point really of the women are there with the guys, and there's whether it's they're getting changed together, going to the bathroom together. They make that point, I guess, in that show of showing that if you're gonna go to war together, you have to be at all levels of comfortableness.
Exactly, and that's in the training environment and in the operational environment. It's not in the peacetime environment.
Mm-hmm.